Somewhere between your bedroom and your kitchen, your brain may have already suffered a silent warning sign and you didn't even feel it. It's not dramatic. There's no loud crash or flashing red alert. But for 8 out of 10 seniors, this hidden assault happens every morning, quietly, predictably, and dangerously. And tonight, I'll show you exactly how to stop it, starting tomorrow. My name is Dr. Benjamin Clark. I'm a neurologist who has spent the last 2 decades studying the early signs of brain aging and stroke. What I'm about to tell you will likely flip your understanding of healthy morning habits upside down. You see, the very routines most people think are good for them, the ones that make them feel productive and disciplined, might actually be weakening their brain's oxygen flow, damaging fragile arteries, and triggering sudden blood pressure spikes. While you're brushing your teeth, or reaching for that first cup of coffee, your body could be sending distress signals. And your brain? Fighting for air. This is not theory. It's what I've witnessed in hundreds of my older patients, people who thought they were doing everything right, until one morning, their world changed. If you're over 60 and want to protect your independence, your memory, and quite possibly your life, subscribe now to Inspired Living. Because today, we're going to unpack 7 common morning habits that quietly raise stroke risk after 60. And then, I'll walk you through a safer morning sequence, one that can cut your risk in half. But first, let me take you to a Tuesday morning, 3 weeks ago. A story that changed the way I talk to every senior about their mornings. It was 8:30 a.m. when Eleanor stepped into my ER. She's 67. A retired schoolteacher. Does yoga 3 times a week? Keeps up with her meds. The kind of person who, on paper, shouldn't be here. But that morning, Eleanor collapsed in her kitchen. Her husband found her on the floor, confused, slurring her words, unable to lift her right arm. By the time paramedics arrived, most of the symptoms had faded. But I knew what we were dealing with. It was a TIA, a transient ischemic attack. A mini-stroke that often serves as the brain's final warning shot. What terrified me was what came next. When I asked Eleanor to walk me through her exact morning routine, what she described was eerily familiar. 7 habits. 7 steps that millions of older adults repeat each morning, thinking they're harmless or even healthy. They're not. And after we adjusted just those 7 things, Eleanor hasn't had a single neurological symptom since. But before I reveal what those habits are, I need to show you why the first hour after waking up is the most dangerous time of day for your brain, especially after 60. You see, strokes don't strike at random hours. According to the American Heart Association's 2023 data, the majority of strokes don't occur in the afternoon or evening, they surge between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. More specifically, they peak during the first 2 hours after waking. Why? Because your brain is undergoing a biological shift from deep rest to alertness. During sleep, your blood pressure naturally drops. Your heart rate slows. Your blood thickens slightly. And your arteries get a break. But as you wake, your body scrambles to reactivate circulation, normalize pressure, and deliver oxygen to your now awake brain. In younger people, this transition is smooth. But for older adults, whose vessels may be stiff or narrowed, that early morning surge can overwhelm the delicate supply chain to the brain. And those 7 habits I'm about to show you? They can push that system over the edge. They don't just shape how alert or sluggish you feel. They determine whether your brain gets the oxygen it needs or begins to shut down. And for people over 60, these tiny morning choices could turn a peaceful routine into a neurological emergency waiting to happen. So what exactly was Eleanor doing each morning that made her brain vulnerable? Let's start with habit number 1, something that's happening in millions of bedrooms, right now. Habit number 1, jumping out of bed, before your brain is ready to wake up. Eleanor once told me, almost proudly, that she never wasted a minute in the morning. As soon as her alarm chimed, her feet hit the floor, no hesitation. No second thoughts. A new day had begun. Sound familiar? But here's what she didn't realize. That fast transition from deep horizontal rest to a standing position can come at a steep cost. Especially after 7 or 8 hours of sleep, when your circulation is at its lowest. In those first 15 seconds after waking, your blood pressure can suddenly drop by 20 points or more. This is called orthostatic hypotension. And during that moment, your brain is temporarily underfueled, gasping for oxygen. You might feel dizzy, wobbly, or see stars as you take your first step. That's not just a weird feeling. That's your brain waving a red flag, saying, "I can't function like this." So what's the solution? Something I call the 90-second wake-up rule. Here's how it works. 10 seconds, breathe deeply. Center yourself. 20 seconds, rotate your ankles and wrists, wake up your blood flow. 20 seconds, slowly rise to a seated position on the edge of the bed. 40 seconds, sit with your feet on the floor, let your body stabilize. Only then should you stand. Eleanor told me this one simple shift changed everything. The morning dizziness she had chalked up to getting older? Gone. Turns out, it wasn't aging. It was her brain's desperate cry for oxygen, one she'd been ignoring for months. If you've ever felt lightheaded or foggy when standing up in the morning, drop the word dizzy in the comments. You're not alone, and no, it's not just in your head. Habit number 2, skipping water, and going straight for the coffee. For Eleanor, mornings didn't truly begin until coffee was in hand. Water? That could wait. But what she didn't realize is this. After 7 to 8 hours of sleep, your body is quietly dehydrated. Even a 1% drop in hydration can thicken your blood and slow your circulation, making your heart work harder, and your brain wait longer for oxygen. And then we add coffee, which constricts your blood vessels even more. I saw this clearly with another patient, Harold, age 71. He came to me complaining of a racing heartbeat every morning after his first cup of coffee. We ran a hydration panel. His blood was so thick, his heart was overexerting itself just to circulate it. The fix? Shockingly simple. 1 glass of room temperature water, 8 ounces, first thing after waking. Even better, add a splash of lemon or a pinch of sea salt to help absorption. Within a week, Harold's symptoms were gone. So if your morning routine begins with coffee before water, your brain could be starting the day at a disadvantage. Hydration first. Always. Habit number 3, starting your day with healthy foods that are quietly loaded with salt. Eleanor believed she had her breakfast routine all figured out. Instant oats with cinnamon. A slice of whole grain toast. Maybe a turkey slice or a protein muffin on busy days. It all sounded healthy until we looked at the sodium. What she didn't know was this: even so-called clean breakfast staples can pack 300 to 400 milligrams of sodium per serving. Combine just 2 of them, and by 9 a.m., you've already hit 600 milligrams before your arteries have even had time to fully relax. That kind of salt overload forces your blood vessels to constrict. And the smallest, most fragile ones, the capillaries in your brain, take the hardest hit. One of my patients, June, 73, regularly saw her blood pressure spike to 140/90 within 30 minutes of finishing breakfast. She had no idea her oatmeal was partly to blame. Here's what worked instead. We swapped Eleanor's flavored instant oats with slow-cooked plain rolled oats. Added a handful of fresh berries. No added salt. No hidden sodium. The result? Her morning blood pressure dropped by 20 points. So here's the rule. Keep your sodium under 300 milligrams before 9 a.m. Aim for a breakfast plate that's 2/3 fresh vegetables or fruit, and 1/3 complex carbs and clean protein. The meal that starts your day shouldn't quietly stiffen your arteries. Habit number 4, drinking black coffee on an empty stomach. For years, Eleanor would start her mornings with not 1, but 2 large mugs of strong black coffee, all before eating a single bite. She swore it gave her energy. But what it really gave her was a flood of adrenaline. Caffeine, taken on an empty stomach, can spike adrenaline levels by 30 to 60%. It narrows your blood vessels and accelerates your heart rate. You may feel sharp, but inside, your body is in panic mode. Peter, a 69-year-old retired contractor, ended up in the ER 3 different times thinking he was having a heart attack. But it wasn't his heart, it was acid reflux triggered by drinking coffee without food. The fix isn't quitting coffee. It's adding a buffer, something light in your stomach before the caffeine hits. Try half a banana, a boiled egg, or 5 almonds. Simple, easy, protective. And limit your coffee to 1 cup, about 150 milligrams of caffeine. If you need a second, wait at least 30 minutes. Because your first drink of the day should power your brain, not shock your system. Habit number 5, ignoring the small warning signs like morning slurred speech or tingling hands. This is the one that worries me the most. Eleanor once mentioned casually that some mornings, she couldn't get her words out right. It would pass after a few minutes, so she figured it was just morning fog. But it wasn't fog. It was her brain sending an urgent signal. What she was experiencing were transient ischemic attacks, or mini strokes, which often happen in the first hour after waking. These are not minor. They are red flags, warning that a major stroke could strike within the next 12 to 24 hours. Slurred speech. Weakness on one side of the body. A drooping smile. Even if the symptoms vanish after 10 minutes, don't ignore them. Remember the acronym FAST. Face drooping. Arm weakness. Speech difficulty. Time to call emergency services. Even if it goes away, write down the time, what you felt, and call your doctor immediately. Those moments when Eleanor couldn't speak clearly? They weren't harmless. They were early warnings, and ignoring them could have cost her everything. Habit number 6, taking all your morning medications at once, often with coffee in hand. Eleanor never thought twice about her morning pills. Blood pressure med, thyroid pill, daily aspirin, all swallowed with her first sip of coffee, day after day. What she didn't realize. That simple habit was quietly setting up a dangerous cocktail of interactions in her bloodstream. Caffeine doesn't just wake you up. It alters how medications behave in your body. Take blood pressure meds, for example. When combined with caffeine, some can overstimulate the system, causing your blood pressure to swing wildly, either spiking or crashing. Even green tea, when mixed with beta blockers, can drive blood pressure dangerously low. Nora, age 75, once saw her BP plummet to 92/58 just 1 hour after her usual morning combo, pills plus coffee. She felt faint, her vision blurred, and had no idea why. Here's how we fixed it. First, we gave each medication its own time slot, spacing them out by at least 30 minutes. Second, we checked every prescription label for red flags, take with food, or avoid with caffeine. Third, we swapped the morning coffee for water until all essential meds were absorbed. A simple pill organizer with timed compartments made all the difference. Your medications were designed to protect you, but they can only do that if taken the right way. Habit number 7. Staying in bed scrolling while ignoring the urge to urinate. This one might seem innocent, even cozy. Eleanor, like many others, enjoyed staying under the covers a bit longer. She'd check news headlines, read her emails, all while ignoring that growing pressure in her bladder. It's just a few minutes, she thought. What's the rush? But the longer you delay that first bathroom trip, the more stress you're placing on your cardiovascular system. Raymond, 68, came to me complaining of sudden heart palpitations every morning, pounding so hard it felt like a drum in his chest. We traced the cause back to a single behavior, holding in his morning urine too long. When your bladder is overly full, it activates the sympathetic nervous system, triggering a fight or flight response. Heart rate goes up. Blood pressure can spike. And the body enters an avoidable state of stress. So here's the rule. Get to the bathroom within 5 minutes of waking. No exceptions. If you're getting up more than twice per night to urinate, try these 2 things. Cut back on fluids 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. Talk to your doctor about possible prostate issues or whether your diuretics need to be taken earlier in the day. Your bladder might not seem connected to your brain or heart, but it is. Especially first thing in the morning. A quick morning brain risk check. How many signs do you recognize? Before we go any further, I want you to do a quick check-in with yourself. I'll read you 5 silent red flags, subtle, but powerful signs your morning habits may already be putting your brain at risk. Count how many of these apply to you. Then, drop your number in the comments below. Sign number 1. You feel lightheaded or see tunnel vision, narrowed, shrinking light when you stand up in the morning. Sign number 2. Your heart races or flutters within minutes of your first sip of coffee. Sign number 3. Your blood pressure climbs above 140/90 within 30 minutes of breakfast. Sign number 4. You've had brief episodes of slurred speech, hand weakness, or tingling that faded after 10 minutes or less. Sign number 5. You notice your heart pounding when you finally get out of bed, especially if you delayed a morning bathroom trip. Now, how many of these warning signs sound familiar? Go ahead, write your number in the comments. If you check 2 or more, it means your brain may be starting the day under siege. But here's the good news, you can turn that around starting tomorrow morning. Let me take you back to Eleanor, the woman who collapsed in her kitchen one Tuesday morning. 6 months after she adopted what I now call the stroke-safe morning protocol, she looked me in the eye and said something that gave me chills. "Doctor, I wake up feeling like my brain is finally ready for the day. No more fog. No more dizziness. I feel clearer than I have in years." So here's exactly what Eleanor did, and what I recommend to every patient over 60. White heavy checkmark the 5-step stroke-safe morning protocol. Step 1. Prepare the night before. Set out a glass of water. Lay out your medications and a low-sodium breakfast item on the kitchen counter. Your brain isn't great at making decisions in the first hour, so remove the guesswork. Step 2. Follow the 90-second wake-up process. Start with deep breathing. Gently move your hands and feet. Rise slowly to a seated position. Sit with both feet on the floor for 40 seconds, then stand. This gives your heart and circulation time to stabilize safely. Step 3. Water light protein coffee. Begin with 8 ounces of room temperature water. Eat something small, a boiled egg, a few almonds. Then have your coffee. This sequence fuels your brain without shocking your system. Step 4. Track your symptoms and blood pressure for 7 days. Don't obsess over a single number. Look for patterns. That's how we identify which habits are helping and which may be silently hurting. Step 5. Share this protocol with someone you trust. Stroke symptoms are often subtle. Having a friend or loved one who knows what to look for could one day save your life. Closing message: the first hour is where prevention begins. It's not the massive overhauls or radical morning rituals that change your life. It's the small, intentional changes, repeated quietly, consistently, that reshape your future. And it starts right here. In the first 60 minutes after you open your eyes. Because every morning, your brain is either being shielded or silently exposed to harm. There is no middle ground, not after 60. When it comes to stroke prevention, the status quo is the danger. If this video helped you recognize even one risky habit in your morning routine, click like, and more importantly, share it with someone over 60. Someone you care about. Someone whose brain and future are worth protecting. And if you're ready to take action, I want you to do something right now. Look back at the habits we explored today. Choose one. Just one. Then comment the number of that habit below and tag a friend who needs to hear this too. Because your commitment might save 2 lives, not just one. Subscribe to Inspired Living for more strategies on keeping your brain strong, sharp, and safe. No gimmicks. No extremes. Just real science and real change, starting with your morning. And please remember, preventing stroke isn't about perfection. It's about becoming aware, truly aware, of how everyday choices affect your most precious asset, your brain. You have more control than you've been told. And it all begins with how you rise to meet the day. Disclaimer. This content is intended for educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult your doctor before changing your medication timing or if you experience concerning symptoms. And finally, protect your mornings, and you protect your mind.